Hey, Mike with No Problems Gaming here. In today's video, we'll be talking about games I'm playing right now. So definitely let me know in the comments below what games you're playing. If there's any great ones I should check out, I'd love to hear about it there. But with that said, let's jump into it. So the first game on the list is Death's Door. Now for a lot of people, this is one of their top games of 2021. I heard great things about it, but hadn't really gotten a chance to play it. But it's out on Game Pass right now, so I've been checking it out. And so in this game, you play as a crow reaper that works for the Reaping Commission, which is kind of like the corporate America of death. And you play again as this crow Grim Reaper. And so your job is basically to harvest souls from people that are about to die for the Reaping Commission. And so as you play, you start to uncover a conspiracy of various different crows that are disappearing. And so this is an action adventure game that you play with an isometric view that has various RPG elements as well. And so you start off with a sword and a bow and arrow, and you have the ability to do a diving roll. But as you play, you'll slowly expand your abilities, learning different magical abilities, gaining new weapons, and powering up your crow. And so as you kill enemies, you'll gain souls that you can then spend to power up various different aspects of your character. So things like their speed, how quickly they can swing their sword, your strength, your magical abilities, and ranged attacks, and much more. It's got a quirky, fun sense of humor to the game as well, and I'm definitely enjoying it so far. But let me know in the comments below if you've played this one yet, how you feel about it. I may be like 4 or 5 hours into it so far, but I'm definitely liking it at this point. Alright, the next game on the list is Fey Tactics. And so this game is a tactical RPG that takes place in a world where the human world and the Fey world have recently combined. And so it's basically like magic users and humans, non-magic users, are thrown into this world together with magical creatures. And you play as Peony, a young girl with magical abilities that's on a quest to find her lost mother. And so again, I'm maybe like 5 to 10 hours into this one, not a ton so far, but I'm really liking it at this point. And so again, it's a tactical RPG, and you can play as various different types of characters. So some of them are going to be more physical based, melee attackers, others have more ranged attacks, and then some are more healers or magic users that you can have in your team. So you have the main base set of characters that you can play as, but you can also summon various different creatures, but they can level up as well. And so you have to balance that between your characters you're bringing to battle, the monsters you're summoning, and you can also have various different spells that you can use throughout battle that have a cooldown period. Again, you can mix and match those as well. And then what's also kind of cool is that as characters level up, they get skill points that you can allocate into different areas on the character. And you can literally change this before every single battle. And so I really like that aspect. So maybe you want them to have a lot of movement for a specific battle, you can crank that up. Maybe you want them to be stronger, you can do that. You want to improve their HP or their magic, you can do that as well. So it's a really cool aspect of the game that I'm definitely liking so far. On top of that, there's a cooking feature. So before battles, you'll play kind of a matching game where you'll flip up different cards, and if you match the right food elements together, you get specific bonuses for that next battle. And another thing that's cool is you can find different spell tomes and talismans that you can equip to your characters that grant various special abilities. But what's neat is that every time you find a duplicate of these talismans, it enhances the strength of them. So you have the main storyline battles that you go through, but you can also go through free battles, repeating different areas to unlock more talismans and level up your characters. Another thing that's cool is that characters all have kind of an active ability that they can use, again, be it attacking, using magic, healing your characters, whatever it might be. But then they also have kind of a wait or passive ability where if they don't take a turn or an action, they can use that as well. They also have a support ability that they can use on fellow characters to help improve their stats, heal them, and various different things like that. And so I think that's really cool. A lot of tactical RPGs don't have that element. So for example, maybe you have a main attack mode, or you have the ability to use a healing spell or some type of stat boost, but usually characters don't have all of those all at the same time. And so I think that's really cool. It adds another unique element to the game where there maybe are benefits to waiting and having your character sacrifice a turn because it provides a protective shield for everyone else. Where again, maybe you want to power up a fellow character because you can't reach any enemies to perform an attack, and so not only can you do that, but you also gain experience for doing that. So again, there's definitely some cool mechanics to the game. Like I said, I'm maybe only 5 hours in, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and I definitely recommend it. Alright, the next game is Castlevania 3 Draculas Curse. Now this is a classic Castlevania game. It's one of my favorites of all time. I've been playing it recently through the Castlevania collection on Switch, and I think this is definitely one of the hardest Castlevania games out there. And so in this game you play as Trevor, Belmont, Alucard, Sypha, and Grant as they go on a quest to kill off Dracula and to stop his evil curse from spreading across the land. So one thing that's really cool about this game is it features various different branching paths and multiple playable characters you can choose from. And so as you go through the game, you can play as Trevor in all scenarios, and then you can recruit other characters depending on what paths you take throughout the game. And so I've been going through trying to experience all the different options as you play. So I played through playing with recruiting Alucard and Sypha so far, but again I'm going to do another playthrough where I'm trying to take on Dracula by recruiting Grant, and then also just by playing Trevor alone. And so it's super challenging. There's a lot of variety to the levels, and depending on the paths that you take, you'll experience new aspects of the game, and I definitely recommend it. The next game I've been playing is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. And so I played through this game once before, but a cool thing is the fact that it does have multiple endings and different ways that you can take on the game and beat it. So I've been going through trying to take on the other challenges to unlock all the endings within the game. And so the game itself is very similar to Castlevania 3 like I was just talking about. And so in this game you play as Zangetsu, who is a sword wielder taking on various demons that have cursed him on a quest of revenge. And so throughout this game you'll find other playable characters that you can use, similar to Castlevania 3. There's a bunch of different branching paths that you can go through, and as you do this you'll be able to find various power-ups that can boost your character's health, their armor, and much more. But again, part of the challenge that I'm going through right now is going through and playing as just Zangetsu, and so choosing not to recruit the other characters and beating it that way. There's also an option where you can kill off the other characters and absorb some of their power, making Zangetsu more powerful. That's the next one I'm going to tackle. But I definitely enjoy this game. Like I said, if you like action platformers that are similar to Castlevania 3, I definitely recommend it. There's even an easy mode that you can implement where you don't experience the knockback like you do in classic Castlevania games when you get hit, making it a little bit easier. Or you can try out the veteran mode, which again is similar to the classic Castlevanias, where when you do get hit, you get knocked back as well, which makes the game a little bit more challenging. But so far I'm loving it. I like going through all these extra features, trying to unlock different endings, and I definitely recommend it. Alright, the next game on the list is Dixit. And so this is a fun board game. It's kind of more of a party game, and it has a similar feel to games like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity. But this game is definitely family friendly, unlike Cards Against Humanity, and it's also more picture based versus words or text based. And so basically how it works is there's a storyteller during each round of the game, and you'll get various different pictures like this that have crazy artwork on them. And your job as the storyteller is to describe a single card that you choose, and you can kind of do it however you want. You can say a sentence, you can use a phrase, you can use a single word, you can make a sound, for example, you can do an action. Again, whatever the case might be, you have a lot of different options, but your goal as the storyteller is to get people to guess your card amongst all the other cards that other players will enter. So again, you're going to choose a card, say some type of word or phrase, and then the other players will have their hand of images and different cards, and they'll play one as well. You'll shuffle them all up and then reveal them, and then players have to vote on which card they think is the storyteller's card. And your goal as the storyteller is to get people to guess your card, but not make it so obvious that everyone guesses your card. So if some people guess your card, you earn points. But if everyone guesses your card, you don't earn any points, and the other players earn points. And then players will also earn points if people guess their card instead of the storyteller card. And so again, it's pretty simple. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great fun party game. It's super easy to learn and fast to pick up and play. The only downside I'd say is there's not a ton of these cards in the game. So after a few playthroughs, you'll have seen every single card in the game. So you might want to check out some different expansions of the game. But I really enjoy it so far, and I definitely recommend it. Alright, the next game on the list is Xenoblade Chronicles, the Definitive Edition. Now this game has been in my backlog for a long time, and I'm really just starting off with it so far. I know I could barely do the story justice, but at this point all I really know is that you're playing on two huge mechs that make up the entire world that humans have populated on, and it takes place after a huge war between humans and these robot creatures. But outside of that, I couldn't tell you much because, like I said, I'm just getting started in the game, but it's really an open world RPG. So there's tons of quests to complete, there's collectibles you can find, there's a lot of different weapons and armor you can find for your characters. But one thing that's really unique about this game, I feel, is the combat. And so it's kind of like an auto battle combat to some extent, where once you engage in battle, you'll steadily attack on a regular basis, but then there's kind of a bar of different options you can choose from, and once you use one of those attacks, the meter will slowly start to refill again for you to use it. The different attacks kind of have different strategies behind them as well. So you might need to attack an enemy from the side or from behind, and you'll get different bonuses when you use that ability. But like I said, I'm probably only like 4 or 5 hours into it, so I don't know a ton about the story. But again, most of that for me was just going through and completing the various different quests in the first town I got to. So I haven't really experienced much of the story yet, but I definitely think I'm going to like this game. But let me know in the comments below if you like this game a lot, how you feel about it, how you feel about any of the other games I talked about today, and some of the games you might be playing right now. I'd love to chat with you more about it in the comments below. But again, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to check out some of our other videos. If you like things like video games, board games, and everything nerdy, and if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications, and we'll see you on the next video.